Welcome back to the Film London Jarman Award Whitechapel weekend, live online at the Whitechapel Gallery. My name is Greta Hewson, and I'm the production coordinator at Film London Artist Moving Image Network, and we organise the Film London Jarman Award. I really hope you enjoyed hearing from Adham Faramawy earlier this afternoon. I really did. And we'll now go to Georgina Starr's performance, The Voices of Quarantaine, Part 1. And I just want to introduce Georgina. Georgina Starr makes videos, sound, and large-scale installation works with a focus on female identity, the otherworldly, and her long-standing interests in the visionary aspects of experimental cinema. Her projects are initiated by extensive periods of research that always involve some form of writing: scripts, fictions, lectures, scores, and poetry. Recent solo presentations include Leeds Art Gallery and Glasgow International. I really hope that you enjoy this lecture performance. Thank you so much for being here with us, Georgina. Over to you in the studio.
In 1974, at the age of 6, I began to hear the voices. I would appear glassy-eyed in the middle of the night in my parents' living room in a somnambulistic state. It's the voices. Stop the voices. It was difficult to describe exactly what I heard. This wasn't just one voice, but a cacophony of female voices trying to communicate at the same time, and their words were impossible to decipher. We went to see a specialist and were told it was auditory hallucinations and that 3% of children experience them, but usually what they heard was one instructive voice, not hundreds of women speaking in unison. In my case, it felt like my brain was equipped with an aerial, receiving information from another place, cryptic messages I needed to understand, but was ill-prepared and unqualified to receive. The doctor said that my brain was still maturing and was therefore open to what he called synaptic pruning, which often caused amygdala glistening. This made little sense to me and my parents. In my 6-year-old mind, I began to imagine my brain as a giant mass of masticated bubblegum, glistening with saliva and sugar, and attracting every female voice in the cosmos to its sticky cerebral dendrites. What synaptic pruning looked like, I could only imagine. Lobes twist, sticky and swollen, licked by a monster's tongue. Of course, throbbing pink as words escape. This is what 1974 looked like, the unadorned brown and beige universe of my parents' front living room in Leeds. In the corner of the room is an object which would become my gateway to another world. A distraction from the deafening but empty speech bubbles, fizzing and popping inside my brain.
Auriez-vous peur? Non, mais cette glace est une glace. Et j'y vois un homme malheureux. Il ne s'agit pas de comprendre. Il s'agit de croire.
In Speculum of the Other Woman, Lucy Irigaray talks about the idea of a concave mirror, a mirror with a curved surface, which, unlike the flat mirror of Lacanian ideology reflecting the male, would represent the inner specificity of the female body. She says, "In the specular surface will be found not the void of nothingness, but the dazzle of multifaceted speleology, a scintillating and incandescent concavity. The mirror in the corner of my living room also had a curved surface, convex, not concave, yet it still offered a cave-like perspective, an opening curtain, a reflective signifier for my desires, a portal between two worlds. The mothers, how strange that sounds. These goddesses exist beyond the range of mortals. I am scared to hear their name. To find them, you must fathom the abyss. In the essays collectively known as Suspiria de Profundis, Sighs from the Depths, Thomas de Quincey explores memory, visions, and hallucinogenics. In the essay The Palimpsest of the Human Brain, de Quincey recounts a near-death drowning experience of a young girl. The girl was playing by the side of a solitary brook when she fell into one of its deepest pools. Eventually, she was saved by a passerby, but not until she had descended within the abyss of death. At a certain stage of this descent, a blow seemed to strike her. Phosphoric radiance sprang forth from her eyeballs, and immediately a mighty theatre expanded within her brain. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, every act, every design of a past life lived again, arraying themselves not as a succession, but as parts of a coexistence, pouring celestial vision upon the brain, so that her consciousness became omnipresent. This story made me recall another incident that happened in 1974. While swinging high on the fragile fronds of a weeping willow, the branch snapped, and I landed not on the soft ground below, but on the tree's offspring, a short, spiky stump which entered the back of my left leg. The result was a deep gash, and eventually a scar in the shape of the letter V. The woman carrying me to the ambulance said, "It's wonderful, dear. You are now part tree." This Lady Lavanna held me up towards the sky and shouted, "Behold, what is greater than yourself?" 6699. In de Quincey's Lavanna and Our Lady of Sorrows, there is a triad of pedagogic mothers, not unlike those in the Faustian mother realm, who inhabit a purgatorial kingdom, the very depths of the Suspirian breathless sigh. They haunt his writing like the voices once haunted my brain. Of these women, he said, they utter their pleasure, not by sounds that perish or by words that go astray, but by signs, by changes on earth, by pulses in secret rivers, heraldries painted on darkness. I know them thoroughly and have walked in all their kingdoms. Sisters they are of one mysterious household. Their paths are wide apart, but their dominion has no end. Do they talk then? Oh no, mighty phantoms like these disdain the infirmities of language. They spoke not, they whispered not, they sang not, though oftentimes methought they might have sung. They wheeled in mazes, I spelled the steps. They telegraphed from afar, I read the signals. They conspired together, and on the mirrors of darkness my eye traced their plots. Theirs were the symbols, mine are the words. In Jacques Rivette's 1976 film Duel en Quarantaine, under the Balzacian subheading Scenes from Parallel Lives, Rivette expands on the Celtic myth, which portends that on the first full moon of spring, the goddesses of the sun and the moon can descend on earth and live amongst mortals for a period of 40 days. It is a strange, dangerous and liminal occasion where the boundaries between the earthly world and the underworld are momentarily dissolved. Duel gently slips in a Cocteau-esque fashion between mythology, magic and modern-day Paris, just like Orphée had done so magnificently 20 years earlier. In their campaign to stay earthbound, the women choose earthly assistance and battle over a gemstone which will grant them the power to escape their destiny and remain on earth. In the hands of the right mortal, in this case Lucy, played by the actress Hermine Carragouze, the gemstone is also a weapon, a secret code to banish these Ahrimanic forces and save us all.
Deux et deux ne font plus quatre. Tous les murs peuvent s'abattre. Sept, huit, neuf, cinq, trois, six, deux.
40 years since she had expelled the moon goddess with the gemstone in Duel, I telegraphed Hermine Carragouze to come channel her magic powers once more.
Deux et deux ne font pas quatre. Tous les murs peuvent s'abattre. 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 3.
I was always curious to know just what those special numbers added up to. 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 2 equals 40. And quarantaine. Jacques Rivette had borrowed those numbers from the pages of Jean Cocteau's 1937 play Les Chevaliers de la Table Ronde, which Cocteau had written as he emerged from a delirious illness, opium addiction. In his version of the play, Merlin, on the quest of the Holy Grail, is able to magically transport himself from place to place, triggered by the words and numbers of this secret formula. For some reason, I always imagine this being sung. Minus times minus is equal to plus. Denominate 0 and all things bear us. Not over nor under, not round but straight through. 7, 8, 9, 5, 3, 6 and 2. 4 up shall be down and left shall be right as we gallop pell-mell down the Sorcerer's Road. Everyone would like a holy grail to fix their damaged lives, but can this grail cure everything, or is it just another illusion? Cocteau once said that he preferred a true death to a false life, and that's the conclusion that King Arthur comes to at the end of the play. A paralysis descends. You doubt all reality. The sound of fighting is getting louder and closer. You may die here. A giant wall chart opens. It is a detailed plan of the whole place, a schematic rendering of everything. The plan is titled The Great Mother. It is key to your escape, and you desperately try to decipher its hidden meaning. Over the public address system, you hear the destructive demands of the maternal voice, scarred by its endlessly spinning question. Hello? Hello? Is it me you're looking for? 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 When my mother was 6, she was sent away on a 40-day convalescence after an operation to remove a gland in her neck. She was the only child at the female-only clinic. Each day, the women were given special light therapy treatment. For my mother, the experience of being alone with semi-naked women and hearing their stories had a very strange effect. She had already developed, even at such a young age, and possibly because of a Catholic upbringing, a profound shame for her own naked body. She withdrew, and she lost herself within herself. The Austrian psychoanalyst Wilhelm Reich had many theories about child education and about bodies. He sought to understand the body and why we want to escape or subdue it. He believed that the emotional and the political had a direct effect on our bodily experience. Although he was a student of Freud, Reich began to ask other questions as he analysed his patients. What if they were communicating information that couldn't actually be said in words? Maybe the past wasn't just housed in the memory, as Freud believed, but stowed in the body too. What Reich was seeing was not an hysterical symptom to be decoded, but rather a kind of clenching, clamping and blocking that pervaded a person's entire being. a tension so impenetrable it reminded him of armour. If experiences were too painful and distressing, if emotional expression was forbidden or sexual desire prohibited, then the only alternative was to tense up and lock it away. This process created a permanent physical shield around the vulnerable self, protecting it from pain at the cost of numbing it to pleasure. Reich called the newborn child the unspoilt protoplasm, the being that existed before armouring had encumbered it with patriarchal controls, engendered rulings and religious indoctrination.
Smrt muškom fašizmu, sloboda ženskom narodu.
I wanted to revisit these light therapy scenes from my mother's distant memory palace and reimagine this solar lunar light machine, replacing the cold, lonely and anxiety-ridden fluorescent glare with a warm, colourful, cosmic accumulating light force, and also introducing a teacher who would, like Reich, release the negative, transform this mysterious block of sorrow and fear, transcend shame and misery, and translate it into ecstatic body energy and expression, into pure streaming. To find these scenes and sounds, I needed to climb into my mother's ear. In Marian mythology, it is said that Mary, the Virgin Mother of God, was impregnated by a word in her ear. A sound, a whisper, a voice, conceptio per aurum. The sound seed grew into a new language, made only of phonemes. The word made flesh. And what would a voice that could impregnate sound like? Penetrating? The voice originated as electrical feedback, the sound that the telegraph wires made in the street where I was born. An electronic, ghostly frequency. It's what I heard in the womb. It was eerie and airy. A leakage of voices from the endless telephonic communications travelling along the wires. A rosary of infinite hellos. These voices would straddle every vocal range. They would be positively barbarian. The Virgin Mary is just one of many women throughout history who've been called to attention by abstract, disembodied voices in their ears. Saint Ursula was also instructed by a voice to take a journey, a crusade with 11,000 virgins. Their journey is illustrated in the legend of Saint Ursula, Carpaccio's suite of paintings in the Accademia in Venice. The message arrives in Saint Ursula's dream. A rosy light emanates her bedroom. Instead of announcing a birth, it carries the news of her impending martyrdom, new life through death. And so dreams the girl with blessed eyes that need no earthly dawn. Attempting this doomed voyage across the ocean, Ursula and her virgins were set upon by the Huns when their boat landed in Cologne and brutally massacred. Many artists' paintings have vividly depicted their scattered body parts: hands, arms, legs and heads, sacred bits and pieces from the bodies of martyred young girls. A couple of years ago, I made my own pilgrimage to Cologne to visit the Golden Chamber inside the Church of St. Ursula, where the body parts and bones of the virgins are kept, alongside a collection of their heads. The heads are neatly stacked on shelves and wrapped in tissue paper like candy, and in glass boxes with gold and red ribbons covering their hollow eyes. I was told by the woman guarding the ossuary that a pink material once dribbled, like stigmata, from one of these skulls. Ursula's virgin brain residue, I wondered. Of this material, it is said that it contains in itself all colours and potentially all metals. There is nothing more wonderful in the world, for it begets itself, conceives itself, and gives birth to itself. This material has many facets, many magical properties, some of them being milk of virgin, spittle of the moon, Scottish gem, chaos, rainbow, dew. My prima materia is pink Ursula material, a kind of brain matter. It allows the initiates of Quarantaine to take a transcendental journey, accompanied by the celestial voices of the spheres.
Écoutez. Rose, à voix haute. Rose, pensée du cerveau. Résine vierge en résidu. Matière rose Ursule. Je répète. Matière rose Ursule.
Thank you so much, Georgina. So that concludes the last day of the Film London Jarman Award Whitechapel weekend. We've had a fantastic couple of days. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I want to say a huge thank you to all of the artists and the collaborators that were presenting today. So Larry Achiampong and Charlotte Jansen this morning, Adham Faramawy and Nisha Ramaya and Kostas Stasinopoulos, and finally Georgina Starr. Thank you so much for all of your contributions. It's been a really wonderful day. I also have to say thank you so much to the Whitechapel for being fantastic partners, hosting us for the past 13 years. And I want to pay particular thanks to Jane Scarth and Richard Martin on the curatorial team. And of course, thank you to Sam Williams and Ralph Pritchard for all of their technical support. And I have to give a major shout out to Ralph, who's been here behind the scenes with me all day. Really appreciate all of your support. I also have to say thank you to the teams at Matchbox Cine and One-to-One Captions, particularly Lee, who's been captioning today. They've worked very, very hard to make sure that the programme is fully captioned, and we're really pleased that we were able to realise that. Finally, I have to say thank you to everyone at Film London and the Flame In team, Maggie, Rose and Duncan, who've worked so hard to support the programme this weekend. If you want more, which I'm sure you do, the works by the artists will be available until midnight tonight on the Whitechapel website. So I really hope that you spend the rest of the evening exploring those. We will be announcing the winner of the Film London Jarman Award on the 23rd of November with a special online presentation on the Film London website at 7:30 p.m. We're all very excited to find out who the winner will be. Perhaps after watching the programme this weekend, you have a favourite or an idea of who you think should win. I really hope that you'll all join us for that. So that's the 23rd of November on the Film London website. I hope you've had a lovely day. That's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. Good evening.